Welcome back to Upper Michigan Today, everybody. We've pulled Sabrina Langdon of Sabrina Lee Studios into the conversation with us here to talk about wedding photography, a major part. I mean, you're capturing what could possibly be the biggest day of your life for the rest of your life to come. What should clients even look out for when they're looking to book a wedding photographer?
Oh man, well there's multiple things to consider. I think there's 4 main things to consider when booking a photographer. I mean, first you have to figure out what your priorities are, right? Like when booking any of your vendors, you have to determine what's going to be most important to you and how high photography is on that list. For example, when I got married 8 years ago, photography was kind of at the top. I mean, I'm a little biased, but at the same time, it's like when all is said and done, like you've eaten the cake and the wedding dresses in a box in the back of your closet, you have the photos to look back on. So for me, it was worth the investment.
Sure.
So determining like how high that is, and then like what level of investment you're willing to put into it, because there's a photographer for any budget. But in general, the more expensive a photographer is, the more experience that they have.
Okay.
Because as I mentioned before, your photographer is with you the entire day, so they can really be a resource for you and help you like plan out your day, your timeline, all that kind of stuff. And with more experience, you're just going to have a more smooth situation on your wedding day, which is super important. And then lastly, I mean, you gotta have a style that you like. You want to trust your photographer so that they're bringing their kind of artistic expertise, but also paying attention to what you want and what you want to focus on, because having that trust is just going to make you so much more relaxed on your wedding day. And lastly, do a vibe check. Make sure you get along with your photographer. You're going to be with them the entire day, so make sure that they're somebody that you enjoy spending time around and that they're going to add to the experience.
That's great advice.
Ultimately, they're going to be a guest at your wedding, and they're more than just a fly on the wall. They're going to be capturing the whole entire thing, hopefully. I feel like, okay, well, I follow a lot of photographers on Instagram, and I feel like, at least with the ones I follow, there's this shift in the trend of, instead of being posed wedding photos, photographers are very much like documentarians. Like they are flies on the walls. They're just capturing you in your natural element. Yeah, you might stand there with your bridesmaids and pose, but like that's less of what it is. Is that what you're seeing here?
Absolutely, especially the people that I talk to when I say like when you are looking at imagining that you're looking at your wedding album decades in the future, they say like what I want to look back on is like candid moments and the memories and having all that come back to you. And so what I say my approach is that it's a 2-parted approach, and that first approach is photojournalistic and just letting the day unfold as naturally as possible, capturing things, knowing when to step in but also when to step back, and just let the day unfold. And then the other part is more kind of creative editorial and capturing the day in such a way that like you're showing all of the elements of it, but in this artistic light that not only shows what it looked like but what it felt like to be there. So that's the goal.
Sure. Is there a lot of preparation for the couple? For do you need them to do a lot for you ahead of time so that you can execute that well?
Well, and that's why we started talking about like timeline, like early on, and I send out a questionnaire. I like to come into the wedding day feeling like I know everything that they are planning for the day. I know all the different details that are important to them, and when I'm going to capture that, so that there's like nothing that's left to, I don't know, randomness on the wedding day. But with that, there's got to be a lot of flexibility in the schedule, because not everything is going to go as planned. It never does. Doesn't mean that the wedding's bad. It just means that, like, there's always going to be something that might go wrong. So having somebody who can like roll with the punches and be flexible and just be like, oh, that's okay, we can make up that portrait time later because we already have it booked in. I don't know if that answered your question.
You should listen. You're just. It's great. It's great.
And, some people are so comfortable in front of the camera, but some people, they just tense up. They look so awkward when they're getting their photo taken. How do you get couples out of this if they're feeling awkward about having their photo taken, or they're just not like looking how they actually look?
That's a great question, because unless you have a lot of experience being in front of the camera, it's always going to feel weird, especially in the beginning. So whenever I start with a couple, I say like, okay, portrait 101, like when in doubt, look at each other. Helps you look like you're in love when you look at each other. Also, keeping your hands on each other, like holding hands, walking. A lot of the times we're doing activities together, especially for engagement sessions. Like, what is your ideal date night? What would you want to do together? And sometimes doing activity together makes them more at ease because they're already doing something that they love to do together. And then I feel like I am more kind of creating like a short story in photos of them rather than just like telling them to stand there and to pose. And then also directing with like a lot of movement-based posing instead of just like stand here, put hand here.
Yes, yes.
And we're gonna go like this, and we're gonna sing the praises of the world. Yes.
Well, we're gonna take a break. Let's practice. Hold my hand and look in my eyes. We're gonna take some photos when we come back. Should we walk together? Oh, we're walking.
Oh, you don't even need directions. This is beautiful.
We'll be right back.